It's already dark. Not quite yet. It can take up to an hour and a half for darkness to fully set in. It's already getting dark. And that might be for the best. We're sporting our new outfits, and it all feels quite strange. Well, yes, right you are. Cerulean cracks open a can of Max Your Day Premium canned coffee and takes a sip, after which she exhales, or is it moans, in delight. Either way, it makes the back of my ears tingle. It's really that good to you, huh? Well, yes, it is. You've had it yourself, you know. It's silky smooth in both texture and flavor and sufficiently sweet. How many of those do you have in a day? I don't count. It'd be like counting how many glasses of water I have in a day. Right. So how many glasses of water do you have in a day? I don't count them. It'd be like counting how many asinine comments you contaminate the air with in a day. Right. Fuck me. Michael? Yes? I have a question for you. It's a private one. I hope you don't mind. Why ask me a private question at a place like this at a time like this? Why, indeed. Well, here goes. Could it be that you get off to my abuse? Do you enjoy it? Are you a masochist? Oh no. I couldn't possibly be. I couldn't possibly be. I asked it thrice, each in a different way, so that your poor soup of a brain could have a chance to process the question. Be honest, Michael. No one likes a liar. I haven't reflected upon it, Cerulean. I'd have to get back to you on that later. Is that so? Well, then I await your reply. As if the gods had heard my prayer, rain begins to fall, smattering as it meets the roof of the bus. Raindrops trickle down the windows in front of us. In said windows I see our reflection. To my surprise and joy, Cerulean smiling in that one specific obnoxiously cute way, and the sight of it sends shivers down my spine. So harsh. So elegant in being harsh. Please step on me. What was that? Some kind of intrusive thought? Well, I'm sure it was nothing of importance. Moving on. Cerulean presses the stop button and a sign lights up. The bus is now empty, barring a few rough-looking office workers, eyes closed, chins meeting their chests. Seems about right, I think to myself. No people our age really have any business in this part of town. We approach our destination and a familiar building makes itself seen. This building sure is something. Same old, same old. That's only the second time we're here. Not the nicest welcome in the morning, I'll give you that, but at least it's without distractions. Straight to the point and efficient. I like that. If you do. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Let's go. I mean, her entire personality revolves around these two concepts, but if she can't tell that much herself, I'm not about to point it out to her. The bus stops, we get off. Had I not known where we are, I would have easily confused this for some kind of hospital. But it's not one. It's a seemingly empty building aside from us three. Frankly, it's kind of disconcerting. You've returned. For the first time I see Isabel getting up and out of her chair. She rummaged through some drawers on her side of the desk. Cerulean begins to speak, though, so I'm quickly distracted. I think we can help her. Isabel smirks. Standing up, I realize she's actually quite short, not to mention curvy. Her imposing aura remains the same, however. Now, in case you're wondering, Isabel is not one of the romanceable options. The third girl is Rose that we're going to be meeting here. Cerulean boasts an entire 178 centimeters and is technically looking down upon her, but doesn't seem to faze either of them in the least. So you say you think you can help her? Kindly elaborate. Rose Jenner was highly dependent on the internet for many things we consider essential: friends, relationships, and work. They were all things she found online. When she was let known of the internet's downfall, she prepared for not having to go outside for a long time. She succeeded in doing so, but I don't think it's what she truly wanted. She wanted the internet to stay. She wanted her friends and work to remain the way they were, her audience, her observers. What happened was out of her control, so the little control she felt she still had, she used. How? To remain the way she had lived up to that point, to the best of her ability, ignoring these new circumstances. To sum it all up, Rose Jenner needs new friends and a purpose to move on, and since she can't get either of them through the means she knows, we have to show her ways she could. I think we should reach out to her. In fact, if you let us, I'd like to go see her immediately. Just doing that much would be a first step towards her recovery, I believe. Silence. Well, that about sums it up, I suppose. I wouldn't exactly have been able to put it into words the way Cerulean just did, but I suppose it was a conclusion I too had reached. Ahem. Her smirk as present as ever, Isabel tilts her head as if saying, "Are you done?" "Not bad." She laughs. "Not bad. I think you're right in your conclusion. You have my permission to go see her. It's a fairly straightforward case. She just needs to be told off and be shown a new path for herself. You're lucky." "Lucky? You got an easy one, but maybe that's for the best. It's your first case, after all. Had you received the case I handed to another team the other day, perhaps it'd be you handing in your letters of resignation right now and not them." Tingles run down my spine. "What happened?" "I'm not at liberty to discuss other cases. If your luck turns bad, maybe you'll find out soon enough." "Forget I even mentioned it. It was a mistake on my part. Focus on your task." Easier said than done. My mind spins in ways it often does when information is left out, voicing all the possibilities and implications. Something isn't quite right about what she accidentally disclosed just now, but I can't ask anything else without pushing my luck. Luckily, I have Cerulean with me. Well, if this turns out well, maybe we could give it a go. It appears she is curious as well. Perhaps, perhaps not. For now, it's moot to even discuss this matter. Please go see Rose Jenner promptly. Isabel is keeping her expression in check, but I sense something moving under the surface. Okay, we'll be off then. Isabel nods, and thus we leave the unholy area of our new workplace. What do you think that was all about? Not sure. Something bothersome enough for her to not want to share a single thing about it. Yeah, but what could that be? Stop asking dumb questions. My guess is as good as yours, Michael. I know nothing you don't know. But if you had to guess... Cerulean sighs. Maybe a worrying trend. Something serious. Something she doesn't want to become public knowledge. It could be anything. It could be anything, huh? I look off into the distance. No one's around. Only birds, the sun, and a light breeze. Don't waste your energy on pointless speculation. We should focus on Rose. Yeah, but it's interesting to think about, don't you agree? Sure. I thought about it, then I didn't. Right. Indeed. By the way, what's your take on Isabel? Take? In what regard? Just in general. She probably has pressure on her, wants to deliver good numbers to her bosses, takes her work seriously. I can't judge what she hasn't shown, so I don't know what she's really like on a private level. It's clear she wants to keep work-related. Right. Indeed. So what's your take on me? Not now, Michael. We're in a public place. I can take it. No, you can't. I'll dump it all on you when you least expect it. For effect. Looking forward to it. I bet. After dinner, we were approaching Rose Jenner's apartment building. The faint daylight remaining sets the mood nicely as we step off the bus. At least it's somewhat warm. At least in contrast to... It's kinda dark here. I see, I'm aware. But I personally don't see it being an offset against warmth. Had it been cold, it would have been more unpleasant. Had it been cold, I wouldn't have been here to begin with. On cold days, I bake and drink max your day. Darkness is what you make it, Michael. If it's used to conceal something unsettling in your mind, then it's negative. I can understand that much. But think of it like this. The darkness conceals you as well. You're just as anonymous as anyone else. What if you're the something lurking in the darkness? Right. Indeed. A few minutes later, we were standing in front of Rose Jenner's door. No light escaping the borders, and the letterbox taped shut. You can do the honors. Just kick the door in. Save yourself some time, dude. I move my finger towards the bell. Around it, a metal framing reflects our images as a mirror. I hesitate for just a moment. I see Cerulean and me dressed formally. We look professional. I suppose we should act our role even if it's our first case. I take a deep breath and press the bell. I can't hear anything on the other side. Did the bell even ring, or has she disabled it as well? Seconds pass and I look over at Cerulean. To be fair, I don't know what you were expecting to happen. Right, got any ideas? Only one. She has a glint in her eyes. A glint that tells me she's up to something. A glint I've learned to fear. Cerulean yells, forcing her voice lower than I've ever heard it. Police, open up! I go completely pale. I whisper to her. Are you insane? We're seriously impersonating police now? It's fine. When you made friends with her, she won't report us. You mean if? We'll be fine, Michael. Relax. For your blood pressure's sake. And so on the other side of the door, I could hear someone fiddling with the lock. Who are you? Or rather, you're not the police. Sorry, I lied. The girl named Rose makes a noise reminiscent of a dog about to bark and tries to slam the door shut. However, Cerulean has put her foot in the doorway. Isn't this going a bit far? Rose, I want to become your friend. Huh? She loses up her grip of the door handle. You might not believe me, but it's true. The truth is I have very few friends, maybe only one depending on the criteria. Rose's arm falls to her side. I look at Cerulean's face. I'd expect her to look over at me because she's the only one that comes to her mind as her friend is myself, but she doesn't. She looks straight at the now docile Miss Rose Jenner. As a first step in showing my intentions with you, I've brought a gift. To my surprise. No, wait, everything's a surprise to me. It's everything but a surprise to me. Cerulean produces a Max Your Day premium canned coffee and extends it towards Rose. For a split second, I'm under the impression she's going to reject Cerulean's offer, but she timidly grabs the can. Thanks. Did my mom send you? Irrelevant. We'll be back tomorrow with another can, and the day after that, and the day after that. Rose raises her eyebrows. You're kidding. Serious. Very serious. Rose looks down at Cerulean's foot that's still prying the door open. Well, in that case, could you also bring me a cheeseburger? It's one of the few things I've really been craving. Sure. With fries, please. You got it, princess. Shut up, Michael. So cold. Rose suppresses a laugh. Here I thought I'd show my support as well, but alas. At least someone got a laugh out of it. See you tomorrow. Goodbye. As we walk down the stairs, Cerulean hums along to some unrecognizable piece of music. She looks happy. With each step, her dress floats in the air for just a moment, then falls down elegantly. The process repeats itself. I think to myself how pretty she looks. The sun is glaring, almost done submerging the horizon. Sweat starts to form on my forehead the second we exit the shade and stop at the heated bus stop. Warmth is radiating from the concrete that's been absorbing sunlight all day. I'm not the only one who's noticed. But contrary to my suffering, Cerulean looks more alive than ever, with her eyes closed no less, as she takes in the final warming rays of today. So, what was that all about? You know what it was about. Eyes still closed, still smile at the sensation of the last day's sun, still humming between sentences. Well, I want to hear it from you. Seasons come and go, Michael. Now we're leaving the cold weather, heading into the pleasant summer. Most people aren't as stubborn as you think. They just need to be presented with a reason and they'll change their ways. Except you. You work in completely incomprehensible ways. Did you say something? She opens her eyes, showing me a harsh sideways glance. I can only give her a nervous smile. A few seconds pass, then she closes her eyes once more and goes on. Most people want to be seen and heard. It's a normal thing to want. If you give that to someone, you might be seen as a potential friend in their book. We wanted her to let her guard down, right? Because deep down I'm sure she's sick of being holed up in that apartment of hers. So I extended a hand and gave her an opportunity to take a step she already wanted to take. It worked this time, but it did seem risky to me. I can see the bus approaching in the distance, so I get my bus card ready. Cerulean still got her eyes closed, so I poke her in the side. My finger sinks in far deeper than I thought it would. Are all girls this soft? Bus is coming. She doesn't seem to be enjoying the dusty and damp air inside the bus. The outside was better for sure. Her tone is somewhat irritated. I'm not an idiot, Michael. Had the circumstances been different, I probably wouldn't have done what I did up there. Are you sure? I want to believe in her, but I honestly can't say that with confidence that she wouldn't do something like that, even if the circumstances were different. I better not question her this one time, because I sense a bit of a temper rising. Fair enough, I'm glad it worked out. She strokes her long radiant hair and exhales. Me too. Truthfully, I did wonder if it'd really work. And if it hadn't. Well, I can't get fired from a shut-in telling on you, and even if I did get fired, it's not like there's much on the line for me. I'm comfortable with my profession. So why do you even agree to doing this, if you're so comfortable with your profession? Come on, Michael. It's unsightly to pressure a girl into revealing her heart's secrets. But I'm not shy. Fine, I'll bear my inner thoughts to entertain your greedy curiosity, for your sake, to sate your hunger. The bus stops, some get on, some get off. One man sits down right next to us, making Cerulean lower her voice. I guess she really doesn't feel like sharing it with all the people around us. I didn't lie to Rose. I'm here to make friends, and I'm here to feel like I have a purpose. The sense of purpose that baking can't get me, the kind where I, as an individual, personally matter to those I help. I want to touch other people in a way I can't with my baking. Baking is very lonely. There's always a barrier between me and whoever enjoys my product. Because think about it, Michael. You haven't ever heard about a customer asking the pâtissière herself at the Lorelei. They praise the cafe in silence, or to the student part-timer who'll go back to their studies a few weeks later, forgetting all about it. Or before everything in raving reviews online. I don't receive their praise, not in the way I want, directly. All I can do is bake to perfection and hope whoever eats my goods enjoys them as much as I enjoy making them. So I'll say it again, a phrase you never thought you'd hear. Baking is lonely. As if someone in the sky had noted their cue, rain began to fall once more, peacefully drizzling on the roof above us. Weather sure is polarizing this time of year. I look at our reflection. The backdrop has changed in just a few minutes. Behind the thin window now lies darkness, but before it I see Cerulean's radiant hair shining as if the only solace in the world. A tingle spreads across my head. Somberness grabs hold of my chest. I see what you mean. So have you ever felt that kind of loneliness, the kind where you just want to matter to someone and have them matter to you? Yeah, but not in a clear-cut way like you, I think. Well, lucky you. For the rest of the bus ride, I enjoy the somber mood, the sudden darkness on the other side of the thin glass, and the pulsating rain painting the atmosphere around us. I think about Cerulean's radiant hair, her baked goods, her loneliness, and her max your day addiction. If I'm the anonymous something lurking in the dark, are you my solace? Common Route Part 1, Cerulean Days. So yes, sadly there was no vocals for the opening song there. You guys may have been getting spoiled by Pixel Fade. I'm home. That sure wasn't a loud declaration. Welcome back, I'm in the kitchen. But I guess she's used to it by now. As I take off my shoes, I try to best identify the smells coming from the kitchen. I can tell there's turmeric in whatever she's cooking, but that's about it. Hey, how's your first day of work? Well, Actually, hang on just a moment. It'll be done any minute, then we can sit down and eat together. I exhaled the breath I'd planned on using to reply to her question. The little amount of energy I was able to muster wasted. Guess I'll wash my hands. I walk up to the sink to turn it on, then I squirt some liquid soap into my hand and rub them together and rinse them off into the hot water tap. My fingers tingle as they rapidly warm up. I look look over at Grace. She's humming along to some endless track in her head. Cheeks flushed, big smile on her face. I guess she had a good day. She turns sideways towards me, then gives me that special heartwarming smile I see maybe once a month at most. What? It might have been my imagination, but it's entirely possible that my heart just fluttered. You're in a good mood. Yes, even I'm in a good mood sometimes. A big shocker, huh? Did something special, I bet, at work. No, just one of those days. Alright, it's ready. Sit down. I dry my hands on the towel hanging next to the sink and go sit down at our kitchen table. She uses a fully metallic soup ladle to gently scoop her finished carrot soup into my bowl. In contrast to her relaxed smile just now, she has now put on a concentrated face. This soup is the product of blood, sweat, and tears. Not one drop must go to waste. That makes me quite hesitant to try it if true. Oh, shut up. It's a saying and you're well aware of it. Carrot soup means it contains carrots. Do you have an idea how many carrots I had to peel? And not only that, the turmeric. Look at my fingers, they're all orange. I did all this so we could have some heavenly carrot soup together. So don't you start with me. Her small burst of theatrical rage putters out, visibly. She exhales and the intensity of her eyes fades. She takes a spoonful of carrot soup to her lips, blows on it briefly, then drinks it. A sigh of pleasure follows. Now, tell me, your day. Out with it, don't spare detail or I'll have your head. Why is it that all women in my vicinity are straight up intimidating? One wrong button is pushed and the hatch above my head opens and pure terror streams out engulfing me. At this rate I'll never know, but not one of them would ever admit to being intimidating. Could it be that the fault lies with me? Well, it was a day. Got to see a new side of Cerulean. She's got more guts than I thought. Now, that makes me think you two did something you shouldn't have done. So which is it? You heard nothing from me. I have a spoonful of soup myself. It's creamy and strangely addictive. Well, frankly, it was weird. It was all pretty weird. How so? Everything from the lady at the office, Isabel, I think, to the case we were assigned. I see. I've never met her, but I've exchanged emails with her a few times. She seems nice enough. I don't know if nice is the first word used to describe her. She seems strict. Well, she's a professional, and you can't tell me about the cases, as I'm sure you're aware. I imagine it's nothing like anything you've ever done before. It's probably relatively new to her, too, and she wants it to turn out well. I suppose so. It's weird to think that it's my duty now, to help those who have lingering regrets about how things were. Sure is. Might only be a part-time job, but it's important work. Make sure you don't forget that. And tell Savory not to forget that, too. I know her priorities may be elsewhere. I wouldn't be so sure. I think she liked it more than she'd openly admit. Well, in that case, good. Just like teaching, it's a job you need more than a salary to be good at. You need to be gaining something on a personal level, such as satisfaction with the kind of difference you have on other people's lives. That's what all the best teachers have in common. And you'd know, wouldn't you? Of course. Say, am I not the best teacher you've ever studied under? A beaming smile. I'd be a devil spawn if I denied it. Yeah, Grace, you are. She sticks her chest out proudly, still wearing a proud smile. Why, thank you. I finish my share of the soup. As it goes down my throat, spoonful after spoonful, it feels as if I'm having liquid comfort. I put down my spoon, not a drop left in my bowl. I thank Grace for the food and head back to my room. So, what do I read today? I grab a book randomly on my next-to-read shelf and sit down in my reading chair. I turn on my dim reading lamp and start reading line by line. Words, words, words. I love words. Once upon a time I loved them even more. I wonder how many years I would have kept it up, sitting in my room reading, only feeling the need to go outside once a month or so. If it weren't for Grace, would I still be stagnant? Was she my Grace? Exhaustion and sleepiness hits me just 10 pages in. It's been a long day. I drift off. Unlike yesterday, today is bright. But no amount of light makes the news we receive any more joyful. With all that being said, there's a test you need to pass. You really think it'd be that easy, did you? I did. I really hoped it would be that easy. She chuckles lightly, but soon returns to her usual deadpan self. Pass it and the job is yours. Fail to pass it and you're better off focusing on school for obvious reasons. You'd have to wait for the next opportunity to take the test. Naturally. I suppose it makes perfect sense to have some kind of method of filtering out unwanted individuals. This is a state-run branch, after all. You have a week to study for it. Feel free to study together. After all, I assume you two are planning on becoming partners. It could be a good team exercise. Partners. The word sends my mind running. I know that face. Stop imagining things. I think I spot a faint smile on Isabel's face as she hands us a booklet each. Is she actually suppressing laughter? Is that suppressing or is that supposed to be suppressing? Thank you. We'll be back in a week to take the test. Good luck in your studies. Ah, studies. Seems we can't escape them even when we enter adulthood. That reminds me of some old quote that can basically be summarized as you never stop learning. Surely this isn't what they had in mind, though. It's 4 p.m. and classes are finally out. Finally I can escape the crowds and their noise. Now what should I do with the rest of my day? Before I can tease myself all the different possibilities, my thoughts are interrupted by a shrill voice. It's time to study you-know-what. You-know-what? Is that secretive? I think not. You know, the way you say that makes it seem like we're going to study something entirely different than moldy state facts. Maybe even something lewd. She sighs heavily. Here I am just trying to keep the mystery going about our shady state job, and your dirty mind just has to go and ruin it. Why is it always like this, Michael? I'm not that kind of person. You're not. She shoots me a beaming smile, but I know what that smile means. It means I'm in for a mental beatdown. But then why would you say such things? This really is concerning. I ought to bring it up with Grace how her little fledgling's head is all corrupted. Anything but, I beg of you. Get me a max your day, I'll forgive you. She points over at a nearby vending machine. Off you go, my little pet. Fine. I want to ask why she's clearly into this pet master roleplay, but since I prefer my face to stay intact, I decided to save the question for another day. I pop in a few coins and a bottle falls down. Good doggy. Are you done? Done with what? Inferring sexual matters and everything I say. You really don't see how what you say can be misconstrued. Ignoring my question, she goes on. I decide when and if. You just sit back and act like a pet should. Trust me, honey, things will work out. She really does turn into a different person when power comes into play. Does she get off on it or something? The idea of it is making me even more tempted to revisit such topics, even though I know it likely won't end well for me. I better just ignore the charade and steer things towards the studying we're supposed to be engaging in. You got the study material? She tilts her head slightly as if she expected me to say something else, then replies in her usual way. I do. It's all right here. She taps her bag. Let's go. After a few hours of rather diligent study in the library, we realized that this test might be a breeze compared to some of the mock tests in sociology we've been shown. Not because the content is particularly easy, but because of how heavily it relies on personal character traits, meaning that it's largely not a test of knowledge, but rather of character. There are obligatory history and politics parts, but after just one study session I feel as if we got them down pat. I feel hopeful. Maybe we were meant for this. Before we go separate ways, I call out to her. Not going to the bakery today? No, I was already there this morning to prepare everything. Some new part-timers handling sales today. I'm not needed. I see. So, you're going home? Yeah, got a bit of a headache. It's not often I see this side of her, but I hint tiredness in her eyes. The way she said it was also not in her usual tone of voice. She looks meek. She's so cute, I just want to pick her up and bring her home. Or even better, be picked up and brought to her home. That seems a lot more likely, too. A surge of emotion goes through my chest. Am I falling for this girl? Already? How long have I known her for? A few weeks? Why do I always do this? I try to suppress it, because whether it's real or not, it's too early. It's too damn early, you hear me? I feel disappointed in myself. Was my love always this easily earned? Right, rest up, see you tomorrow. I will. She gives me a faint smile. My heart goes off at a dangerous pace, much like a drum rolls. I'm hopeless. See you? Yeah, see you. I turn around, trying my best to stay composed while ignoring my impulses. because nothing good can come of letting these loose. Then she calls out to me from behind. By the way, Michael. Yeah? I feel as if she knows, even though there's no way she can. I feel as if she does. I just wanted to say, well, I think the situation can't possibly get any worse. She lowers her voice and goes, thanks for today, for hanging out with me and helping me study. Today was great, barring this headache. My heart, if it could melt, it would. Why whisper those saccharine words to me, and nobody with no hopes? And with you, who and what you are, in what world could that possibly end up well? Do you have any idea what you're putting me through? Oh, woe is me. I can't possibly acknowledge your words, because if I do, then I admit I'm worthy, that I'm not who I am. I'd be denying the fact that I'm myself. In my head, I pretend to make a fainting motion, humoring my silly monologue. Clearly unaware of my inner turmoil, she just gives me that one special kind of smile that makes everything else just fade away into the ether. I feel lightheaded. I do what I always do when pressured. React without reflecting. Because if I think deeply about it, I know my cracks will show. And if that happens, then she'll never talk to me again. Because then she'd see the real me, and who'd want that? No worries. Take care. She half-heartedly gives me a waving gesture, then she turns around and each of her steps slowly fade away. A cold, early morning breeze seeps into my covers. I look out over the scenery beyond my window, and Inray looks alive yet again. Cars spewing out smoke, skyscrapers radiating unnatural light. What's the definition of alive anyway? It's bustling, though, just like every morning on a weekday. Today is examination day, the Inray Island employee exam. I'm meeting Severine outside our school in an hour. With our school being state-run, you're able to take all kinds of examinations there. We were surprised to find this out because we'd been expecting to take the bus to the middle of nowhere, see Isabel's stern face, listen to the AC of the building while taking the test. Grace has already left for work. I feel that nowadays she both leaves early and returns later than me. Wait, did I not already make this observation once? Either way, it's definitely true then. No breakfast prepared for me. Guess I'll chomp down on some cereal. I feel ready to take on the test. Severine and I have only had 2 study sessions together, but they were so efficient and ultimately exhausting that we drew the conclusion that we might be taking things a bit too seriously. So we decided to stick to self-studies for the rest of the week. I last looked through the study material yesterday evening and nothing stood out to me as particularly challenging. I should do just fine on the test. It feels good. Morning. Hey, good morning. Don't fail? Why, thanks for your concern. Make sure you don't fail either. I don't fail. I never fail. A small smirk forms around her lips. Right, known for future reference, Miss Genius. Don't call me that. Hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Right. We're walking towards the largest examination hall of our school. We've not yet been in it, but we've not yet been examined on any of our sociology subcourses, so our state employee test will be a surprising first. Severine's walking in front of me. Towards her neck, her hair is a bit messy, which is a rare sight. Did she stay up studying and end up falling asleep in her clothes? Don't tell me you're going to fail, Severine. Well, this is it. Good luck. Good luck to you, too. An hour later. I know she finished way before me, so I suppose she's been waiting out here for me. I can't lie, it stressed me out a little, but overall I'd say it went okay. So... It went fine. You? Fine. I think. Honestly, the test felt a bit weird. More I think it felt like a psychic evaluation of sorts. I'd like to pick Severine's brain about it. Do you want to grab an early lunch? No. Bucket of ice water all over me. But a coffee and pastry would be nice. She smiles faintly. Besides, I have a short shift starting soon. What about the lecture? I said short. I'll be done before it starts. Honestly, they pretty much let me do whatever I want as long as my pastries get sold. And they do. They always do. She puffs out her chest proudly. Right. Well, let's go then. Let's. The cafe in which we first met. It's empty, and it makes me wonder who's buying all of her pastries, which I never see any customers here. When I never see any customers here, so I ask. Well, you see, our largest customers, physically and otherwise, can actually be found inside this mall. The big-bodied bosses of many of the neighboring stores come in here like clockwork, and every time they reek of shame. Elaborate, please. One large order of pain au chocolat. Chocolate bread, or chocolate-covered bread? She puts on a deep fake voice role-playing one of said bosses. Every day, without fault. It's hilarious. They say my pastries are like crack, so I basically feed their addictions, and it feels great. You sure have quite a few sadistic streaks. Shut it, maggot. Okay. So, want a pain au chocolat? It's on me. I don't see it on you anywhere. That smile of yours, it terrifies me. Perfect. One pain au chocolat coming up. Here, eat up. Okay. I don't need to tell you how good it is. I rub my temples in confusion. Divine Christianity has taken a hold of my soul. I see it now. God is real, because there's no way this wasn't created by him. So, I'm waiting for you to praise me. My knees feel weak. My head is spinning. What did you put in this? I'm imagining men in the skies, for hell's sake. Let's see. Butter, some more butter, and I think the third ingredient is butter too, and a bit of chocolate. Is that a Paula Deen recipe or something? Jeez. That is to say cocoa butter, and some cocoa. Butter creates all the finest things. I live and breathe butter. It is amazing. Crack doesn't even come close. You've tried... You've tried crack? Hey, it doesn't surprise me. You're a bit of a weirdo after all. The flaky texture falls apart in my mouth. Buttery goodness loops up my mouth and doesn't leave a single spot untouched by his magic. Orgasmic magic. Why aren't you like the King of Sweden's personal pastry chef or something? Those bastards fika a whole damn lot. Bite after bite, the pastry is decreasing in size. I probably could be. Do you think I should send him a letter with a request for transfer? No, you stay here, right here. Ah yes, you're right. I have to take responsibility now that I made you an addict. That's fair enough. I'll be a good friend. Then a timer beeps from the kitchen in the back. Ah, I need to go. You don't need to stick around. I'll see you at the lecture. Sure, no problem. See you. And so our shenanigans were abruptly cut short. Hey, welcome back. How'd it go? Fine, I think. After dinner, I decided to take down some notes. I wouldn't call it a diary just yet, but rather some random thoughts of passing days. The test. It wasn't what I had expected. I never know what to think of tests after I've taken them. It's always been like that. I hope it went fine. So one thing they don't actually tell you was whether or not it was a paper or computer test, because a computer test, you'll have your result literally within minutes, at least in real life. It's just, with them weaning people off the internet, I guess maybe it'd be a paper test. And even still, you can do a Scantron type thing, so you'd still get the results within minutes. I don't know. Especially with the government, man. You figure it'd be Scantron. Updated once every 10 years, that type of thing. The day after yesterday. Nervous? Not really. I think it went okay after all. Same. Isabel's car is here. Want to go inside? Why not? Someone's in a rush. Good morning. Morning. I suppose you're here for your test results. A few rapid keyboard inputs later. Yes, they've arrived. I haven't actually looked at them myself yet. There's a separate branch that deals with the tests. All digital. I'm confused. All digitalized. Modern times and all that. Would you rather we did this individually, or do you not mind the other's presence? I look at Savoring. She returns a look and shrugs. Together is fun, I guess. Isabel pauses for a second. Alright. She clears her throat briefly, then goes on to list whatever information is available on her monitor. Cerulean, congrats, you scored a perfect score. According to our test, you're the ideal state employee. Welcome to the Department of New Integration. We're just delighted to have you on as a part-timer. So there you go. Sadism is like one of the job prerequisites. A smile blossoms on her face. Thank you. Then she turns to me with her expression growing dark. Michael, I'm sorry, but you failed the test. You scored under half the total amount of possible points. You failed the test. Within a split second, everything goes gray. It's a tintogram I'm terribly familiar with. A sinking feeling in my stomach ensues. I failed it? How? I was so prepared too. At least I thought it was. Did I make a lie to the test? And Cerulean's right next to me, seeing me in my weakest moment. I begin to feel nauseous immediately, as if I've been punched in the gut. You can choose to redo the test in a year if you so wish. Her tone is low and monotonous. I'm sure this is awkward for her too. I sense Cerulean twitch in my peripheral vision. A whole year until I can try again? A year is such a long time. What's the point even? I failed. I'll give up. I feel horribly useless. How am I going to tell Grace? And Cerulean, are we going to have to go our separate ways now? Shame comes in waves over me as I try to cope with my failure. I feel as if I'm falling back into a very dark and deep pit I've known before. Just when things were looking brighter. However, we can make an exception. It hinges on your cooperation, however. She directs her words at Cerulean. I freeze, and now I'm at the mercy of her sympathy. If you vouch for him, he can tag along as your assistant, on paper that is. Cerulean smirks. An assistant, you say? She looks at me. She wears that usual smirk brimming with confidence. In my current state, she could crush me, cut off the rope I'm lowering myself into the pit with. I'd have no way back. Push the right buttons and I'll take damage. I hate how much power I'm giving her, but it's not like I can help it. She takes a breather, pulls on one of her long, lustrous strands of hair, then continues on. Only if it's not just on paper. Tell me he's my assistant. Isabel appears a bit confused by her response. Well, that much is up to you. Be my guest, though he'll need to pass next year's tests when they come around. Cerulean chuckles lightly. Then yes, I suppose I'll vouch for him. I'll vouch for my lowly assistant to be allowed to follow me around like my very own pet. Her pride turns haughty, and her brilliant smile only grows brighter. The light from it reaches my darkened heart. It grows lighter with each second that passes, if only a little. And so in the middle of my falling down the dark pit, I was caught in the air and pulled back up by a white-haired beauty. It didn't go as planned, huh? And you know what? That's fine. Not everyone can be perfect. If they could, the word itself would lose its meaning. Don't let it get to you. I can tell you're taking it hard. I just thought it went fine, you know? To be fair, it was a strange test. I hope Isabel doesn't overhear us, but I kind of just answered the way I thought they wanted me to answer. You did? I did. So you should try it too, in a year. Now, cheer up and let's put today behind us. You'll get over this in no time, okay? I take a deep sigh, then I nod. She's actually a really nice person, huh? When it truly matters. Beyond that cold facade of hers. They were missing the Cedia on the C, though. The reason why I point that out is they have the acute mark on her E, so they should have the Cedia. Michael? Michael? Then I finally feel something hitting my cheek. Huh? What the? Grace has left for work, and if I hadn't come inside, we'd be late. Get up, now. God, I can't believe it's come to this. I know we don't have any lectures today, but you should still strive to get up at a fixed time every day. It helps with consistency, which your brain loves. You'd be more productive, and you'd avoid situations like these, too. No time to shower, get up, get dressed, then we're leaving. Alright, one of those days, huh? We get on the bus. The smell of a cheeseburger penetrates the atmosphere. Why does he not have... Well, I guess that's because he's the assistant or something. My stomach makes a terrible noise. Cerulean twitches. Sorry, am I bothering you? If you are, I can't even hear my own thoughts with the rumbling things going off every 2 seconds. Shouldn't have forced me out of my home without breakfast if it's such a bother, not to mention torturing me with that smell. You should be grateful I even came to wake you up. Next time I just might not. I'd go solve the case on my own, taking all the credit, making you out to be a tardy loser who couldn't finish the job. You'd be demoted from being a scrappy sapphire to a sinking stone. So yeah, if he's a sapphire, you should still have that. She'd actually do that. I'm sure of it. Guess I really am at her mercy. Thanks for waking me up. Shut up. We look up at Rose's building. The sun is casting the shadow of a large tree across it. I look over at Cerulean. I hadn't noticed until now, but there are dark circles around her eyes, barely visible to the untrained eye, covered up by makeup in a desperate effort to conceal. Having lived with Grace for quite a few years has made me very receptive of the many looks of makeup-wearing women. Sometimes barely recognize her for better or worse. Don't tell Grace I said that. What I'm looking at now is not like that. It's the look Grace would wear the morning after a rough night of grading papers, or drinking. What kept you up last night, Cerulean? Or the last few nights, even? Seems to have become commonplace to see her like this. Let's go. For some reason, she hesitates for a moment. Let's go. In that moment, a voice calls out to us from behind. Hey, guys. We turn around. Rose? Wearing a sun hat with 2 grocery bags by her side, she gives us an awkward smile. Once we've been invited into Rose's apartment, it quickly becomes obvious she's been cleaning extensively since our last visit. Cleaning supplies are still out in the open, and everything looks a bit too clean. I'm full of questions, but it seems they'll be answered without any effort put into posing them. You know, I felt kind of stupid after your earlier visit. Not really sure what I was doing myself. Getting a free drink and burger, having you go through all the bother of getting them for me? I don't know, I felt selfish. Sorry. Don't be. I meant what I said. Savoring extends the paper bag with a cheeseburger towards Rose. The max your day she's already placed on Rose's side at the table. Rose laughs awkwardly as she realizes what it is. It's been sitting in there for an hour. I hope it's still good to eat. Thanks. Sorry for the trouble. No need to apologize further. Rose silently gives us a few small nods in succession. So, what next? Oh, I don't know. I'm just glad I can go outside again. Kind of forgotten how pleasant summer is. I know that feeling well. I remember summer breaks when I barely went outside, but instead stayed in my room and read books. Grace was at her wit's end about how to get me to go outside. One day I just felt like it. To my surprise, it wasn't bad. Pleasant even. But I'd forgotten about it, engrossed in my fictional worlds. Book after book, world after world, they would never end, so I stayed the same. I forgot about it after that too. Then one day I rediscovered the fact that the outside isn't so bad, and in such a manner it's gone on and on perpetually. I can relate, I've made that rediscovery many times. So, you guys were once like me? Cerulean shifts in her seat. Not really, her body language tells me. Well, as for me, perhaps, but it was a long time ago, before everything. I see. How do you guys, get into this? I cut myself off. No, she's definitely not my mother, but rather my ex-guardian, I guess. She has government connections. This is actually our first job. Ex-guardian, and really? Somehow that's kind of embarrassing, being someone's job. I shrug. Long story, and hey, we all need help sometimes. Speaking of jobs, it's so strange. I've had lots of time to think about this, My audience is gone, I won't ever get my job back. No, you won't. They both go quiet. Feel like I should say something. You're far from the only one. There are people out there with identical circumstances. But if you want to have a chance of meeting them, you've got to go put yourself out there. That's what it's like now. All you can and should do is adapt. Don't you agree? I look over at Cerulean to catch her reaction. Deadpan. Right. You're right, of course. I just can't remember what my life was like before my streaming career. It scares me, the unknown. You're not alone in feeling that way. Rose looks as if on the verge of tearing up, but she shakes it off. So, are there, papers I need to sign or something? No, it's in our hands. We have to deem you ready or not ready. And I think it's a pretty clear-cut case. She gets up, pulls out another Max Day from her pocket, and downs it in one go and exhales. Let's go, Michael. I'm glad we were able to take the first step, Rose. Here's my card. Come find me anytime you want. And let me know if going to the movies on Friday at 7 p.m. works for you. In fact, don't let me know. Just be there. There's this movie I've been meaning to catch, and I thought inviting a friend would be nice. Oh, I can come up. You're not invited. Bye for now, Rose. See you. Bright, hopeful voice and eyes, so at this, I think that maybe we can make a difference after all. So you finished your first job. She looks over the papers we just handed her. Congrats. I whisper to Cerulean. She sure seems ecstatic, huh? She doesn't meet my eyes, just gives me a dismissing twitch. No joking around, got it. However, Isabel looks up at us. Is that a taunting grin? You've got plenty more to do. Next to her towards the floor, she pulls out a huge drawer. Inside, there's a massive stack of documents. These are all unassigned. Your first case may have been a breeze, but there are people with circumstances you can't begin to imagine. Complicated family circumstances, undiagnosed medical illnesses, people who were shut-ins long before the restructuring. And they're all right here. She taps the drawer rhythmically. Go ahead, pick one, roll the dice. Name a number. Ready or not, they're here, and they'll remain here until they're dealt with. To us, until we've opened them, they're just numbers in the system. Documents out of paper, boxes waiting to be ticked. But you've seen it firsthand, they're all real people, all with their own individual circumstances. And while we're expanding, you have a great deal of responsibility. Make things right. These people are counting on you. Cerulean exhales. Then she corrects her posture and looks at Isabel in the eyes. These things are done in order, so give us the first one. Order, I like that. Isabel's hand pulls out one of the documents, and without looking at it, extends it to Cerulean and me. It's now in Cerulean's hand, staring right at us. The insignia of Inray Island is beautiful, no doubt about it. Somehow looking at it makes me feel anxious, though. Why is that? As per usual, Cerulean and I are instructed to go and look through the document to get an idea of the next case. We reached Cafe Lorelei, but not once had Cerulean's firm grip around the document budged. We're sitting at our usual table with a coffee and pastry each in front of us. I can't get it out of my head. Curiosity is killing me. What's our next case? Who's our next case? And why isn't Cerulean desperate to know as well? You, gonna open it? I don't know, Michael. Am I? Well, yes. I'd hope so. I'm really curious about the next case. I know that. But there's a reason you haven't opened the folder yet. I don't know. Is there? For heaven's sake, Cerulean, if there's something you want to say, just say it. Being around the bush like this is torturous. Did you not notice it? Out of nowhere, an unprecedented sharpness in her eyes appears. Notice what? Whatever it was, I hadn't noticed it. Nothing had been out of the ordinary. The color scheme. I make a gesture for her to continue. The color scheme of the documents. They had all been labeled with a color. Then there's the matter of the uniforms. It all just clicked for me. See? My uniform has a blue tint right here. And now look at the spine of this folder. Blue. I've been assigned to us specifically, even though it seemed like we had a choice. I see, and you think it means something. I don't know, but we haven't been told everything. That's the feeling I'm getting. And didn't you notice Isabel's uniform? Her insignia has a bright white tint. In the drawer, there are folders with white spines, too. Anyway, there's something else on my mind as well. I feel like if we open this, there's no turning back. No turning back from what? We can always quit. Can we? Can we always quit? Are you sure? Cerulean's being illogical. That's a first. It's just a job. If we don't want to do it anymore, we resign. I don't know. It's just a feeling I'm getting. Like we're about to do something we can't undo. I stare down the blue spine of the folder. Is there any truth to her suspicions? So, are we opening it? Actually, she extends the folder towards me. I'll leave this one up to you. There's a look in her eyes that I don't see too often. It signifies uncertainty. For someone who's almost too certain, it's of significance to me. That itself makes me nervous. Honored to be given an important decision to make, I think about it for a good minute, all the while savoring I don't break eye contact once. Then I decide to. I won't leave you guys in suspense. Well, we have to open it, don't we? It could be anyone inside that folder. We should do our best to help them. Well, yes, so it's decided then. It is. I take a deep breath as if building up courage for something big. Then I open the folder.